It is possible that most of us believe that this generation is vastly superior in its intellectual capacity to its ancestors. It is possible for us to believe that we know better than our fathers, our forefathers, our ancestors. And it is possible that we believe that we worship logic and reason much more than everybody else did because they were superstitious idiots. Assume for a moment that is the case. Then of all the people, the burden is on you to ensure that you never open your mouth on a subject unless and until you are informed of the facts. Yes or no? So the next time, even if you're not aware of the tradition or you're not aware of the facts, but somebody chooses to shoot from the hip or comment, and he's not in a position to back it up, do you have at least a semblance of duty to ask him what is the basis of his opinion or her opinion? I would say so. If we are comfortable making fun of our own traditions because we believe it's superstition, then the question is, do we have a problem with the tradition or do we have a problem with the question of superstition? If we have a problem with superstition, regardless of where it comes from, you must be in a position to question it. Yes or no? And regardless of the number of people who hold that particular opinion, because if you decide to raise questions only if the number of people on the opposite side is less, then that will make you a coward. Yes or no? If there are more people opposing you and you do not have the guts to raise the question, then clearly it's a position of convenience. Yes or no? So when the media constantly talks about this particular issue, honestly touch your hearts and tell me how many of you decided to voice your opinion on social media, asking what is the basis of the media's opinion. How many of you decided to use your platforms, your Twitter handles, your Facebook platforms, or WhatsApp groups, or all the favorite platforms for, they say, this particular generation, to ask them these fundamental, simple questions? Why? Because the issue does not affect you. It doesn't concern you. Had this been a campaign with respect to a non-dharmic institution or a non-Hindu institution, would some of us have not felt that this is unfair treatment to a minority religious institution? We would have. Yes or no? It's not wrong. If you see injustice happening to any institution, regardless of its faith, you have a right to question it. There's no doubting it at all. Whether it's minority or majority really doesn't make a difference. But you would have raised your voice. Yes or no? But when it comes to your own institutions, there is a fundamental reluctance to stand up for it. Why? Is it because you're ashamed of your identity? Is it because you're ashamed of your history, your traditions? But how can you be ashamed of something if you don't understand it? Then neither should you be proud of it, nor should you be ashamed of it. But why is your default setting that of being embarrassed? If you do not understand something, then the point is you must be undecided about it, correct? Then neither should you be pro or con, for or against. But the default setting seems to be always against in most places when it comes to our own traditions. That goes to the question of identity. The root of this particular issue is identity. The reason why I keep using this word like a stuck gramophone for the last half an hour is that as days go by and as time passes, you will realize that this particular word, this particular concept, this particular construct is going to be at the center of every national discourse. And there is not going to be a single issue that is going to affect your life which is devoid of its relationship to identity. When youngsters of your age, I am 33, I don't know if there is any member of the audience who is a participant who is of my age. So I'll think of myself as someone who's at least a generation away from you, at the very least. When youngsters of your age choose to not take an interest in issues with respect to identity, it allows somebody to use you and make useful idiots out of you because you have a certain sense of activism, which is not necessarily supported by facts always, and that plays into the hands of people with a vested interest. You do not need to support anyone, but since you're such worshippers of logic and reason, and there has not been a single generation on earth which is as intelligent as you, and as smart as you, and as informed as you, I would certainly expect you to question every superstition and every position And when you're presented with facts which you're not aware of, you must be in a position to change your position, because if you don't do so, that would be the textbook definition of bias or prejudice. Yes or no? So here's my homework for you. Anyone who already thinks that he's aware of the Sabarimala issue, please go back and read it a bit more. And those who do not have possession of the facts of the issue, but certainly have fantastic opinions on the particular issue, the burden is on you to read further. Take that as a test case and ask yourself, is this an isolated instance or is this a pattern that is emerging? The exhortation that I am trying to make is this. Increasingly in my generation, there was a serious distance that was growing from our cultural central point or cultural fulcrum, the center of gravity of our culture. And largely because there were not enough people who could articulate our position in a manner that is compatible with today's idiom. And therefore I decided to take it upon myself to try and attempt and make that particular change. There's a decent chance that I might fail. Or perhaps there's a 100% chance that I might fail, but nevertheless I've decided to take that particular opportunity. And I've said I'm taking that plunge. I come from a low middle class family, so it's not as if I had resources put on my table on a silver plate or a platinum plate telling me, "Bachche jo karna hai kar." That's not going to happen. I made that switch because I'm serious about it. What surprises me is those who see a value in justice, freedom, social justice, equality, don't see a value in history and identity. That is almost mind-boggling. How are you going to understand the concept of justice and freedom and free speech or any of these values that you wish to speak about or you're so passionate about unless and until you understand the journey? You don't need to form an opinion and then try and support the opinion with facts, but at least start having the facts and then arrive at a certain opinion. That is my humble request to this audience. Because if you have a certain opinion and you try and force fit all facts to conform to that opinion, it is dishonesty. Because you're not open to a different conclusion. But at the very least, have facts in your possession. Take an active interest. Can you change the fact regardless of which part of the world you go to that you're an Indian? Can you abandon that identity that you're of an Indian origin? Yes or no? So if somebody has a problem with that identity, even if you have chosen to abandon that identity, he will not stop or she will not stop. Why? Even when it comes to negative issues, we should have women first, is it not? So she will not stop unless and until you've been deprived of that identity. So if somebody has a problem with your identity, at the very least, they've identified that it is an important aspect of your personality. So if you can't realize what is your worth, your enemy is telling you what is your worth, or your adversary is telling you what is your worth. My request to you would be only this. Become engineers, become doctors, become lawyers, do whatever you want. But do not ignore anything that affects who you are as a person, not as a professional. And according to me, and I'm backed by several philosophers and thinkers of this country, dharma and religion is the backbone of Indian identity. I'm not asking you to blindly follow anything. I'm simply asking you to try and understand the concept of dharma wherever possible. Whenever there is a discussion on religion, on history, on society, on rights, on discrimination, do not start with an opinion. Start with facts. That is the fundamental distinction between an activist and a researcher, because an activist effectively decides the position and holds on to the position regardless of the facts which are presented to that particular person, he or she or he, in whichever order you choose to see it. A researcher, a seeker, which is what your civilization is all about, asks the right questions to get the right answer. If you were to ask the question, can I smoke when I pray? Isn't it distinct from asking the question, can I pray when I smoke? There is a distinction between the two questions. And it points towards intent. So my humble request to you would be, enjoy this phase, but also make the maximum utilization of this phase, because you'll never get this time in terms of equipping yourself with maximum abilities or giving yourself maximum tools.